Retro Ghetto.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Retro Ghetto. So I'm sure you've seen there's been loads of videos on YouTube recently about people telling you which Xbox 360 games you should be buying before the eShop closes, but this isn't one of those videos. I've been adding to my Xbox 360 collection and urging you guys to do the same for the last 4 years. Recently I've acquired quite a few bangers, so I've got some more expensive and rarer items that I've been adding to my 360 collection that I'm going to be showing you guys today, as well as a couple of CEX lotteries. This one here in particular, this could potentially be probably the crowning piece in my 360 collection. This could be the best piece I think I own, probably the rarest and probably the most expensive as well, to be fair. But I am nervous about it, and we'll get to why later on in the video when we get to it. But I want to start with this game. So this is something I picked up when I went out on a recent hunt with Eddie Rollercore and Dylan Hyper Trigger X. We nipped into a St. Helens, I believe it was, CEX, and I found this on the shelves, and that's a game I've been intrigued by for quite some time, and that is Shadows of the Damned. The game's protagonist is Garcia Hotspur, a Mexican demon hunter who goes to the city of the damned to battle its evil in order to save his girlfriend Paula, who was captured by the Lord of Demons. This was a very well received game upon its release. Game Informer gave it 9.25 out of 10. Destructoid and Game Zone both gave it an 8.5, and it's been so successful that there's actually due to be a remaster, I believe, due later on this year. And as I say, this is one of them ones that just keeps increasing in price. I was going to buy this just before I did, and it was £18. It then went up to 20. It's now 22 on the PlayStation 3, I believe, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. So yeah, definitely one that's worth grabbing sooner rather than later. The box art is absolutely fantastic. I'm very much intrigued about this one, and one I'm really excited to play. And it's one of them games, I wouldn't say it was rare, but there's approximately about 30 copies in stock throughout the whole of the CEX here in the UK. So, not rare, but maybe verging on uncommon. And like I say, with the ever increasing price, definitely want to be picking up sooner rather than later if it's something that you're interested in checking out. Right, okay, next up, I've got to give a shout out to my friend Matt for hooking me up with this one, and that is Bully Scholarship Edition. Originally released by Rockstar in 2006, this thing got an Xbox 360 release just 2 years later, and it's actually called Bully. The original release, certainly in Power Territories, was known as a Canis Candom Edit, which is Latin for Dog Eat Dog. And this open world adventure game played in third person sees you play as the juvenile delinquent Jimmy Hopkins, who is involuntarily enrolled at Bulworth Academy boarding school for a year. Initially the violence and sexual content was seen as quite controversial, but it did receive high praise throughout. Very, very positive reviews across the board. And another one which is continually going up in price, this one is £18, so I think this is the only physical version of the game in which you can play in HD. This was never given a re-release on the PlayStation 3, at least not physically. So yeah, that could explain as to why it's going up in value, and as to why it doesn't seem to be showing any signs of slowing down. This is one of them games I'm ashamed to say that I missed at launch. I've never actually played through this. I've dabbled with it a little bit, but yeah, really happy to have this version of it. This is the ultimate version, and yeah, I'm hopefully going to be playing this very soon. And yeah, really looking forward to it. Let me know what your thoughts are on Bully, and is this a game which would be worthy of a sequel? Then would they make a game like this in 2024? Let me know in the comment section below. Right, okay, next up we're going to go to our first of the CEX lotteries of this video. Let's get into it. This is an interesting one. You'll see why I bought this shortly. Yeah, there we go, let's rip into it. And that is a copy of Capcom's Dark Void. This is a 2010 Capcom developed third-person sci-fi shooter. The game actually takes place before World War II and is centered around a cargo pilot named William Gray, who is transported to another world whilst flying through the Bermuda Triangle. The game makes use of a unique vertical cover system and includes a hover pack and later on in the game a jetpack. And switching between the traditional shooter gameplay and fly is one of the unique selling points of this game. I've had a look at a lot of reviews and more recent reviews of this, and it seems to be one of them games that people are clamouring for of a remake. A lot of people are saying that a lot of the ideas were there and there's a good game in here somewhere, it just wasn't quite executed as well as it could have been. And yeah, as I say, there's a lot of people online saying that this is one of them games that would definitely benefit from a sequel or an overhaul should it get a remake. But you might be wondering why I'm talking about Dark Void, being as it's just a £1.50 game currently at CEX. Well, the reason being is this was actually been removed from a lot of digital storefronts. And ever since I heard the news of that, there's been fewer and fewer physical copies of this one. Every time I check CEX, there seems to be less in stock. So I definitely think it's worth picking up whilst it's still cheap. And the reason that I wanted to highlight this copy today is I'm going to be giving this one away. So stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll be letting you guys know how you can win this copy before they eventually all dry up. The reason I'm giving this one away is because I was fortunate enough to find this on the trolls of eBay, and that is this sleeve cover version. So this is quite uncommon. It's not very often you come across the Dark Void sleeve cover, and when I learned of this, I kind of set it as my mission to find it. So I found this after I purchased this one. So yeah, stick around to the end of the video and I'll be giving away this copy of Dark Void to one of you guys. But yeah, I mean, if you've watched the channel, you know how much I enjoy a sleeve cover, and really happy to be adding this one to my collection. Right, okay, next up, a game which has become very expensive, and that is Dodonpachi Resurrection, the Deluxe Edition. This is the 5th arcade game in Cave's Donpachi series, originally released in 2008 but ported to the 360 in 2011. And it's one of 3 and the last of the Cave Bullet Hell shmups released for the 360. I say it's the last, it might not necessarily be the last in terms of its release, but it's certainly the last in terms of the 3 which I needed to complete my Xbox 360 shmup collection. So I'm absolutely delighted to have this in the collection. And I think of the 3, so there's also Akai Katana and Death Smiles, I think this is the most visually impressive. I love the aesthetic of this one. Whilst Bullet Hell isn't traditionally my favourite form of shmups, this one out of the 3 makes me want to pick it up and play it and really invest some time into it. So I'm really looking forward to doing so, especially on my Xbox 360 kiosk, which I personally think is the best way to play shmups. I don't know why, I just enjoy playing them standing up. And as I said earlier, this one is shooting up in value, pardon the pun. This is currently listed at £48 at CEX, but there's not a single copy in stock currently. And I think if you were to take it to eBay right now, you'd be paying very close to £80 for a complete PAL copy. So definitely one which has spiked in value over recent months, and I certainly don't see that slowing down. Most shmups continue to go up in value if we look at trends of other video game consoles. So if you are looking to get shmups, if this is one that interests you, or you go for a full 360 set, this is definitely one I plan on picking up sooner rather than later. And yeah, one that I'm looking forward to getting my teeth stuck into. My teeth stuck into. I want to play it. Right, okay, next up, right, this game was inspired by a game I recently played through. So I recently played through Mafia 2 and really enjoyed it, and I sort of wanted to continue on that sort of like gangster open world theme, and that led me to this game, one that you just don't see around very often, and that is The Godfather. Originally a 2006 PS2 and Xbox release, this game was brought to 360 just 6 months later, and based of course on the 1972 classic movie. You play as Aldo Traponi, who is recruited to the Corleone family as you work your way up through the ranks, whilst also trying to seek revenge on your father's killer. This has gone up to become a £20 game currently at CEX, and yeah, definitely one that I think is worth picking up. By all accounts, it's not the best port. I've heard it's a bit choppy, and you might well be better with Godfather 2, which is still more reasonably priced at just £8. But like I say, I just wanted both in my collection. Being a big fan of the movies and the whole genre generally, I just wanted to find out for myself. But yeah, with this having gone up to £20 at CX recently, definitely worth checking it out. I have had a look for you guys. There are a few on eBay that are a little bit cheaper than that, so it might be worth heading there first, unless you've got vouchers. But yeah, let me know if you've played this version on the 360 and what your thoughts of it are, or maybe I should just avoid this one altogether.
Sorry, Johnny. It's just business. Give it to him.
Right, okay, so before we get into this, there are a couple of late entries to this video. So these are things which I found quite recently. This first one I found in my local CEX, and not overly expensive at £10. I don't want to say it's uncommon, but it's uncommon to find it in this condition. And that is The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Enhanced Edition. So this comes in this really nice edition with the sleeve cover, and it also comes with the quest handbook. And I see this every so often going through various CX stores, but it's usually battered. It's usually all tatty and to the point where I don't even want to add it in my collection. And if you know, you know I'm far from a mint collector, but this one was nice. So I thought it was well worth picking up for the £10 price tag. And yeah, I've said many times on the channel how I couldn't quite get into The Witcher 3. I feel like at this point it's got to be me, right? Because everyone seems to love that game. I've tried so many times. I think I played 3 or 4 times to try and get into The Witcher 3, but I think short of locking myself in a room with it for a week and forcing myself to play it, I've just never quite got to grasp with it. So I'm not going to be in a rush to play Witcher 2 if I'm being honest. But let me know how this one stands up to the 3rd entry in the series. And yeah, like I say, just nice to find it in real nice condition because it's just not something that you see every day. And speaking of something you don't see every day, I've got to give a shout out to my friend and Ghetto gang member Steve on this one. He messaged me and said, I've just found this in a charity shop for £1. I don't think it's something you see very often, and it certainly isn't. This game is just 8 copies in stock at CX currently, and yeah, I've never seen it in person, so really happy when he messaged me and sent it my way. And that is Watchmen: The End Is Nigh Parts 1 and 2. This is an episodic video game series that serves as a prequel to the film adaptation of the DC Comics franchise, originally download-only installments. This is the disc version released in July 2009, which comprises of both episodes 1 and 2. What's great about this game is that it's single player or cooperative experience, and I had a quick look and it's very average reviews. One of the reviews cited that it's a decent HD generation beat 'em up, but it does get very repetitive. I personally think a lot of beat 'em up style games get very repetitive. It's definitely one that I'm intrigued by, and I'm going to put this on, see if it's like relatively simple controls. Maybe me and Little Man can play this together on the kiosk, but yeah, like I say, just not one that you see very often at all. And for my friend to find this for just £1 in a charity shop, fantastic buy. It looks like it's never been played. Comes with some like really cool stuff, posters and things like that. So yeah, really happy with that and delighted to be adding it to my collection. But like I say, for just 8 copies in stock currently, this is definitely one I wouldn't hang around for if you are wanting to add it to your collection. And I'm going to be honest, I feel like I've sailed through a lot of that. I feel like I could have spent more time talking about those games, but I've wanted to open this ever since it arrived a couple of days ago. If you watch Sunday's vlog, this came just as I was closing up the vlog. Right, okay, let's just get into it, right? So, this is something which is rare, uncommon, and it never comes in stock in CEX. I had a save alert, but I gave up hope of it happening because CX have got this listed for £70, which according to eBay and eBay sold listings, that's less than half of what it sells for. I think there's one available for £148 currently. This is a game which has multiple collector's editions, and this is my concern. I'm worried that this isn't the version I think it is. I'm worried that this is a more sort of like common collector's edition of this game, one which isn't worth as much. It sells for about £55, so for me to pay 70, this will be going back if it is that version. But I'm optimistic that this is the version that I want it to be. So I think it's time to sort of like switch to this camera here. We're going to open this one together. I'm going to go from this side. I mean, it's taped up anyway, right? It's taped up. So let's just get into it. Okay, it should probably be easier if I take my dress off it. Okay, so now my dress is off, I can show you guys a bit better. We have got an invoice. This is the version I was hoping it was. And it looks to be in amazing condition. You can see my face, you don't need me to say anything. That is Castlevania Lords of Shadow Limited Collector's Edition. So this is a 2010 action-adventure game developed by Mercury Steam with supervision from Hideo Kojima himself. This is a reboot of the Castlevania series set in Southern Europe during the Middle Ages. The story focuses on Gabriel Belmont and his quest to defeat the malevolent order known as the Lords of Shadow. But, looking at it, it looks to be not only the correct version, but in absolutely fantastic condition. There's not a mark on it. There's not a bang to the corners of the box. These are always them things that I always think, who's trading this to CEX? You know, like if somebody's had this game, paid all that money for it on release, looked after it all these years. Who's then thought, I'm not going to see what eBay are selling it for. I'm going to take it to CX and get my 50 quid voucher or whatever. But I'm thankful they did. Let's take a look inside, shall we? So, as I say, there are multiple collector's editions of this. There's one which just contains like an art book, maybe a steel book. But this is like the all singing or dancing one. This comes with this mask. And I've never seen this. I've never seen this in a store. I've never seen it online at CEX. And I meant to say previously, when I got the alert to say this was in stock, I kind of like was scrambling around trying to find vouchers. You know what it's like, pulling vouchers out from wallets and pockets and coats I wasn't wearing and like scrambling them all together, trying to be as fast as I can. And then I had to go through to my bank to pay the remaining balance. And I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to get this. Someone's going to buy it before I have the chance to get all my affairs in order. But somehow I managed to get it. And I know for a fact I'm not the only person that had this as a saved alert, because this was the morning of Doncaster Game Fair. And one of the first things I said to Kev when I got into the car to head towards Doncaster was, I've already spent 70 quid today before we've even got to the fair. And he looked at me and I said, oh, it's CEX. And he went, on that Castlevania Collector's Edition. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I just had the alert, I was about to buy it. So, yeah, I got there before Kev and probably from numerous other people, including probably some people watching. But anyway, I've sort of waffled on too long about it. Let's open it. So, again, with the sleeve removed, you can see it's got the mask on the front. And that should be in here. So there's a series of... Right, so it opens that way. Okay, we'll pop that there. Let's get into this first. So, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Open it up. Instruction book. Okay, so we've got multiple discs. Right, so we've got disc 1, which I'm assuming is the game. Disc 2. Is it a dual disc game? Must be. And then the third disc is the official soundtrack. So that's what we get in that one. And then this must be the mask. I'm sure it comes with that mask. Okay. Right. It's quite heavy. It's like, I think it's metal. Yeah, it is. Wow. And a stand by the looks of it. So, I don't know if you guys can see this, but... okay, so that clips in the back. And then that just helps it to stand up like that. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. The condition is fantastic. And yeah. Probably the rarest and arguably best piece in my ever increasing Xbox 360 collection. I mentioned on last week's vlog how I sold a couple of collector's editions, a couple of larger ones, which I enjoyed, but I'm not like a huge fan of. And I think given my space, I've got to start being a little bit more picky with the collector's editions that I own with 360. I really narrow it down to the games, franchises, and editions that I really want. And this has been top of my list. Like I say, it's just not one that comes available. This is the epitome of a CEX win, and yeah, just absolutely delighted with it. And I just want to sort of finish this video once I stop staring at that by basically saying that, look, collect what you want to collect how you want to collect. It goes without saying, but you know, I notice a trend with video game collecting and collecting generally, and life in general, that people only want something once people attach a value to it. Like, all of a sudden there's loads of people collecting Xbox 360, which I think is great. I've been praising this and singing its praises of this fantastic console long before I started YouTube, but in terms of like on YouTube for the last 4 years. But you know, more and more people are now getting into the Xbox 360 wave now that the value's going up. Don't wait for the value to go up. Don't wait for somebody else to attach value to something that is already there. This is a fantastic system with an amazing library, and it was just as good when the games cost £1 at CEX, and now those games are £10, £20, whatever it may be. So yeah, I'm not saying you've missed the boat with 360, because I still think it's going to go up in value, and I still think there's good value to be had there, but take it as a lesson for other consoles, other systems, other things that you might be looking at thinking, well, that's cheap, but actually enjoy it. Don't wait for the wave. Don't wait for everyone to get on it. Don't wait for a store to close down and YouTube to produce videos like this one. Just get on it when you enjoy it. If you've got something attached to it, if you had one as a child, whatever it may be. And yeah, just buy it whilst it's cheap, because like most things in life, if I've learned anything from years of collecting, things that are cheap don't stay cheap. And yeah, that would be my only advice. But just delighted to be adding these fantastic games to my collection. Shout out to everyone that's helped me along the way to give me some of these fantastic deals. And yeah, definitely a CEX lottery win. And let me know in the comment section below which games I'm missing from my Xbox 360 collection, and which collector's editions I deserve to be on my wall that aren't currently. But as always, play your games, keep it retro. I'll see you in a bit, take care. Yeah, buddy. Buzzing, absolutely buzzing. Thank you to everybody for taking the time to watch this video. If you want to be in a chance to win this copy of Dark Void, simply put in the comment section below, Ghetto Void. That's Ghetto Void. And I'll get you entered into the draw, and we'll give this away on this week's Ghetto vlog, Sunday, 9 AM. See you there in a bit.